zoning meeting for August the 1st. Our first item on the agenda today is approval of the meeting minutes from the July 2nd meeting. I reviewed them, didn't see any issues.
Chairman, if I might, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion to approve second. All in favor? Okay, minutes are approved. We'll move on to item 3A, public hearing, consideration, and action.
Good afternoon. This is an ordinance to change the zoning from a planned development district, PD 99-12, to C3 general commercial on approximately 5.51 acres of the Martinez Survey 124, abstract number 247, Kirk County, more commonly known as 229 Junction Highway. This is a current PD. Most, if not all, of the uses on the property are grandfathered. They're not consistent with the PD. So the applicant was wanting to go to C3 just to make it more applicable to getting new tenants in some of those buildings. It is part of strategic catalyst area number 4, and the C3 request is consistent with the place type for that catalyst area. As you can see, everything around it is zoned C3 as well, and then that's properties on Junction Highway back up to the residential property on Arcadia Loop. So the shipping containers were there prior to the planned development district for that storage business. So they are allowed to keep the shipping container business open. I know at one point, one of the buildings in the back was an automotive shop, and that required a conditional use permit under the planned development district, which was approved. So that was operating under the CUP. If I'm not mistaken, that business is no longer there. So he's just trying to look to garner better tenants under the C3 rather than stick with the old PD that really isn't applicable today. The staff recommends approval, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
There were no, sent out the notices, no one contacted us.
We have not received any comments.
The businesses that are there, if any, are gonna remain, or no, do you know that?
I know the shipping container business and the U-Haul business will remain.
Okay,
I'm assuming they're officing out of the front building as they have in the past. The back 2 buildings, I think that's what they're looking to backfill. And as you can see on the aerial photo, there's a portion, that back leg, that going through historic aerial photos was never occupied by shipping containers. So the owner is aware that he can't expand any further south than where he currently is located. So that last little square that's vacant land back there can be developed under C3, but the shipping containers can't move any closer to the residential area than they are there in that photograph.
no one's here to speak. I guess the applicant is not here.
Nope.
Well, I'll open and close the public hearing at 4:03 since there is no one to speak. Any questions, guys, for Drew? Since the applicant's not here?
I mean, putting it to C3 is gonna actually put more regulations than what there are now on that.
It'll open up the uses more than the current PD, but again, it's consistent with everything around it. But any future development would have to follow those guidelines based on C3. So it'd be traditional regulation with setbacks and screening.
So they'll have to do back there what all the other C3s do, butting up the residential.
Correct. Yeah, as it sits today, they wouldn't have to make any changes, but any new construction would trigger those screening fences and so on.
Right, if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion on 3A.
I'll move to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second, motion to approve and second. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, 3A is approved. Go to 3B.
3B is a request for a sign variance in accordance with Chapter 92, Section 92-14 for variances at Brown Edition, Block 24 and 25, Lot 1 and part of Lot 2, Lot 4 and Lot 6, more commonly known as 741 Water Street. So the applicant is requesting for feathered flags on the property. And if you're not familiar, it's this style flag, the little fabric temporary flags. Current regulation allows feathered flags with a permit for 20 days out of a calendar year. The applicant is seeking to allow 3 feathered flags for 5 hours on Saturday morning during the farmers market that they have there. Obviously, the current code is not specifically addressing a temporary use such as the farmers market. A 5-day minimum to place feathered flags out under the current code. So we'd only be able to put them out 4 times a year, 5 days each. They're asking for every Saturday just for Saturday morning. They'll be located at the entrance, on either side of the entrance and one in that middle island, as you can see on the site plan. And again, just 5 hours on Saturday morning. And I'm happy to go through the actual evaluation criteria if you'd like, or you've got that in your backup as well.
And again, notifications were sent out to the businesses within 200 feet.
That's correct.
No responses, no problems.
Yep. And so I guess if you want to look at it from the variance standpoint, the hardship would be that this is a 1 day or really half-day use of the property as a temporary use. And obviously the code was not written for that intention. Not that that's out of question, certainly a reasonable request, but just wasn't written that way.
Don't have anyone signed up to speak for this either. Well, let me open the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing at 4:07. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm Debbie Nielsen. I'm the property manager for 701 Waters, which is the old Pampel's building. And I know y'all are familiar. I've been here before trying to get sign variance for Pampel's. Downtown is, it's a different, don't know how to say it, way to advertise your business. It's very hard with the variance, the signage rules that are in place. And it's like when I came for when Popo's was here. The little 3 square feet, doesn't matter if you have 500 square feet or if you have 100 square feet. Everybody was stuck with 3 square feet of lighted space.
I remember that.
And it makes it very, very hard to compete with all the businesses that can have billboard signs. And I'm all for them putting their flags up to draw attention. It's like I said before, if you guys put the fish up down at the park down there and you didn't put lights on it, no one would know anything about it. But that's how you advertise to say it's here, and that's how people see it. And we're just at such a disadvantage downtown because of signage. I think a lot has to do with that. I would love to see the old-time neon lights like way back in the old days. Something that you could bring lights to the attention. I know at Pampel's we had a real hard time. People thought it was closed all the time. Well, we've lit up inside the building, but it would be nice to be able to put some lights around the building windows. But I'm all for drawing attention, and I understand the flags do. That's 52 days out of the year. 5 days, was it 5 days that's right now?
Right.
That's really hard to advertise your business. And the only thing I have is as long as they stay neat. I've seen a lot of the flags that get tattered, but I know Farmers Market will do a great job in doing that. I hope we all look to say we need to change something downtown so these businesses can survive.
I tend to agree with you because I think that Pampel's Corner, which is now the Italian food place, I mean, it's very hard to tell if they're open or not.
It is. It's just very hard. And if we could have lights inside of the building so that, but we're limited to, I think it's 3 square feet if I remember. And I was like, so if I have 500 square feet of window space and this guy has 100 square feet, we can only have the same amount of lighted space. So I would love to see somebody come back and say, you know, we're gonna base it on square footage of window space. Because that one little open sign doesn't do anything for you.
I agree.
It's very, very
It'd be
tough.
something we could probably take a look at.
Yeah, we want downtown to succeed.
Absolutely.
I mean, we really do, but we put so many rules and stipulations on them that I mean, El Posto, they have great food, so, I mean, we've been real fortunate, but if you drive by, it's very hard
It
to
is.
see if it's open.
If you don't know, I mean, if you know it, you know their hours, but if you are just new and you're in town, you're not sure. And
Yeah,
and it-
oh, I've had so many people say, no, I drove by, it was dark. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't dark, it's open.
Yeah.
So I would hope that we would look toward for the city of Kerrville to say, let's revisit that issue, because I know I brought it up, gosh, when Popos was there, that was, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
At least, maybe longer. But I know that's been every one of my tenants' complaints.
Okay, well, that's something we can,
Yep,
And I didn't mean to bring that all up, but
No, that's
I'm
That's
all
fine.
for the flags, as long as they're not tattered, and I know they'll do a good job of it.
I'll come back to that here in a moment if y'all want to finish this one out.
anyone else wish to, thank you, ma'am, we appreciate it. Anyone else wish to speak? We'll close the public hearing at 4:11. Drew?
That's all I have. Like I said, I think it's within reason. They certainly presented a hardship based on the temporary nature of this use.
Kind of what I read when I looked at the ordinance was the biggest factor about these things is they say they're distracting for traffic.
Right.
And that particular street at that particular time, I don't think that would be an issue at all.
Yeah, it's a signalized intersection, slow traffic speeds, lots of pedestrians anyway, so people should be paying attention. Additionally, the feathered flags, as the code is written, is really for large sale events, you know, Labor Day sale, Memorial Day sale, Christmas sales. And a regular business would put them out maybe 4 or 5 or 10 days at a time just to promote that sale. Or in this case, it's a temporary use that has no permanent signage, and they're wanting to use these as an easy temporary sign that's less intrusive. So,
Any questions?
I would think it would be appropriate to restrict the variance if it's approved, so that if, for example, if the organization currently doing the farmer's market goes away, I think the variance ought to go away too. I think any
Does it?
sign should be evaluated on its merits, so I would,
How does it work, Drew?
with the
You give a
variance,
variance.
yeah, you could put restrictions on it. I think that would be applicable to, obviously, it's only this property based on this site plan, but tying it to this use is appropriate as well.
Okay, well, maybe we can make a motion with that in it, if we're done with the discussions. You want to make a motion, Dave?
yeah, I'll make a motion as long as this organization is using these flags, that they can do that on their request, but should they disband, that the sign variance be withdrawn.
Is there anything do we have any mechanism, like this lady said, if the signs are the feather signs are all torn and everything?
Yes, they do have to be well kept, just like any
Okay.
other sign, including the feathered flags.
Cool.
I
Then
think
we
the
have a
benefit
motion, do
here-
I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? All right. I don't think we have anything else on the agenda. But I would like to see some way for us to get on our agenda a possible review of the downtown district and the sign
Yep, I've got a
limitations, which would be, doesn't have to be all over the place, just downtown.
So, real quick, just for our normal staff report, next meeting is September 5th. We do have a couple cases, applications for a couple cases in already. And for Kerrville 2050, the comprehensive plan update, that does include a downtown master plan. So the TERS board will serve as the advisory committee for the downtown plan. We can certainly discuss signage through that process. Additionally, we do have a pending sign code update. Just trying to go through council priorities to figure out when that needs to come
Cool.
back. And so that sign code update would come to the planning commission for review and discussion, and then to city council. So we've got two different mechanisms that we can approach that.
And you should be able to, on the city's website, look at that planning and zoning's agendas. You should be able to know when that's coming.
I would love to do that.
Good.
They'll send notices out.
Yes. Well, we won't send notice to the property owners for the downtown plan, but I've got a couple dates coming up. So the next meeting is September 5th. We'll also have our regular meeting in October. We will have a second meeting in October on October 23rd for the Planning and Zoning Commission to meet specific on the comprehensive plan. So trying to get schedules to align with Freese and Nichols, with the TERS board, with P&Z, and host a public event. We were not able to do that first week of October, so we'll have a called meeting October 23rd specifically for the comp plan update. The TERS board will meet on the 23rd as well to talk about downtown master plan. And then that evening, we're looking to have a public event to showcase what Freese and Nichols has come up with so far. So if you want to keep that date on your calendar.
Drew, do you have a time for
Time,
that
yeah.
October 23rd meeting?
I think for P and Z, we're going to stick with 4 o'clock. We might move that up a little bit, just depends on trying to get
Later
downtown
meeting?
to meet earlier in the afternoon. You guys try to meet at 4 o'clock, and then hope we're done by 6 o'clock or so for a public event. So, be a long afternoon. So, certainly want you as a downtown owner and operator to be there.
We've never been, I haven't been, and I've managed the business down for 15 years. Is there a way that they could speak with the owners? Because we're the ones that, or the property managers, we're the ones that realize what all the problems are. Instead of having somebody come in and say, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. It would help if we could get the property owners at downtown together with your engineers or the
Okay.
committee, whoever's gonna make the decision.
Right now, we're putting together a list of stakeholders for some interviews, so we'll keep that in mind.
Perfect, I appreciate that. We're the ones that realize what
Absolutely.
we need.
No, absolutely, that's perfect. And the Historic Downtown Business Association will have a liaison on that board, as well as the Main Street Board, as a part of the Downtown Advisory Committee, so there's that mechanism as well. But no, we'll definitely look at that as a stakeholder to notify all the downtown owners and
Thank you,
Can you give Drew your contact information?
I sure will.
Good. Anything else, boys and girls? You need to say anything, Mike?
No, I don't.
You good?
Would you like to?
You did wake me up.
Do we get a star for today?
Yes, you do. Each one.
All right. If there isn't anything else, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
thank you, guys.
Oh.